background before I go ahead and open this up because it's just going to start happening. A while ago, Zebby94, you may see him in chat. He'll probably speak up with Hungry Tag Face as soon as he hears this. He came to me and was like, hey, this Sethbling guy made a program that can learn how to play Mario without any human intervention. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And he was like, why can't we do that for fan games? To which I was like, yeah, that's a good question. Why can't you do that for fan games? So it turns out that you can do that for fan games. And there's a lot of people posting Hungry Tag, but no Zebby. Maybe he went to bed. Alright, but anyway, without further ado, let me go ahead and start up project codename I Want a Genetic Algorithm. Is this in the right position? I think it is. I hope that this starts up right. Let's go. In before OBS doesn't even work. Oh wait, I just opened the GMX. False alarm, false alarm. What I really want is my Dropbox. There we go. Figure it out. I will figure this out. Is that the right file? Okay, there we go. Alright, just sit back and enjoy the ride. Okay, so I will discuss what's going on as you can watch it. What happens is hard-coded at first, there is a a population of size 20, and all of these kids are given a random set of genes. And these genes determine what they do when they see the world around them. For instance, do they want to jump when they get near a spike? Do they want to walk right or left? And then at the end of each generation, these kids are actually mated together and they produce offspring which become the next generation. And then this goes on and on and on until we get an optimized result. And I can go ahead and show you that optimized result by pressing B, and that will show you only the top performer from the last generation, which you can see goes right into the portal. So they completed this room in one generation. That was pretty easy, just one spike. So we're going to go ahead, and now that we've entered the medium difficulty portal, we will go into the real game. So yeah, I was thinking about it. This is basically like Twitch Plays Guy Games, except you guys don't do anything. So we can both just sit back and watch the hilarity. And, yeah, the jumping is still kind of an issue for us. Once one of them makes it in, okay, so they've made it in now, I'm going to turn on the grid and show you the best performer. So, here's the grid and best performer. So you can see that the grid and that line are all the inputs that the kid gets. I'll show it again here. Green means it's a block, and red means it's a spike, and white means that it's empty. So they take those inputs and use a neural network to compute the outputs, where the outputs are left, right, jump, unjump, which is like letting go of shift, and shoot. And shoot doesn't really do anything. It kind of just spammed that noise, which was very fun during testing. But, you know, we put it in because maybe someday we'll need it. Alright, so we'll move on to the next room now because I think that's enough of that. So here, you can see the issue that we're having with jumps is that the kids don't like to do two full jumps because they kind of spam letting go of shift, like Ben pointed out with all the jump canceling. So hopefully what'll happen is after enough generations, the kids that move to the right will be the only ones to survive, and they will produce more offspring, and those offspring will be better risk takers. Like that guy, he just went and jumped off the cliff. He walked into the spike, but it's that kind of risk taking that we need for evolution to bring us the latest and greatest kids. Can you get this and make a really hard needle game and let it sit for a few days? Well, it's a good point you bring up. I guess we're in a full-on lecture mode now. So what happens is that the algorithm as it is has a very low mutation rate. When the kids mate and they share their chromosomes, there's a 0.02% chance that that chromosome will mutate into a completely random value, which I think is too low. I think Plasma Napkin was helping us with that, and he suggested raising it higher. And what that means is that after about 30 generations, every kid has the same chromosomes, so they're all literally going to do the same thing. And the ones with, because it's a 0.02 chance, that's like, what, 1 in 50,000? So for every 50,000 genes that are transcribed, one of them will be mutated. And as we can see, as I've just been sitting here talking to you, it's been 14 generations, and we finally got a kid over to that far side over there. And we lost it. How does it determine which is the top performer? That's a very good question. There is an algorithm, which I can actually pull up and give you the exact algorithm. This is called the fitness algorithm. Let me see, where's the neural network? Simulator. Alright. Event user 0. So when the kid collides with the warp, or when the trial ends, or when a kid collides with a spike, its fitness is determined on a scale of 0 to 100, where 50 points are awarded based on living or dying, so it gets 50 if it lived and 0 if it died. 15 points are awarded for time, so if it were to make it into the portal, instantly it would get all 15. Of course, that never happens. And 35% is based on the distance to the goal, and that's really the key. So the closer that they get to the goal, the higher their fitness value. And I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next room now, because you can see that all of them are getting those chromosomes that benefit, and so more and more of them are making it to the end. So here's something that I think the jump height also causes issues with. It's the spike next to a spike. I'd really like to work out a better way to determine jumps. Maybe what it would do is say, instead of when do you press and release shift, we could say, is it going to jump 3 frames, 5 frames, etc. Is it, I want to be eugenics? Technically yes, because all of the kids that don't make it die off, and only the ones that do survive. It's very elitist, but that's just the way of the world. Survival of the fittest. I don't know if I've missed any questions in chat, but do feel free to ask any questions, because I'm sure I've missed something, just while we sit here and watch the kids go. Oh, and this is pretty useless, but if I hold space, you can watch it go at half speed. Turn on that grid. Stop the grid. Let them go. These kids over here on the left that just kind of walk into the wall are the kids that stand left and shoot. Those are my favorite, because they're the ones you know are going to die. They're going to get eaten by whatever eats kids. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, is when we calculate what it should do this frame, it could be something like, jump, like in a Twitch Plays Guy games, is it going to jump one half or 1/3, something like that. Can we speedrun this? We're speedrunning it right now. Geo, look, there's a timer. Go kids, go. Well, Electric, as for can we make a needle game possible, the key is to avoid getting stuck at any local maximums. So what happens is, say that a kid makes it to this spike, over here next to the goal, and dives in. If that kid never gets a mutation that allows him to keep moving forward past the spike, like that one just did, then everyone's going to get that gene, and eventually you'll have every kid doing the same thing, just diving into those spikes at the end. And that's considered a local maximum, because that's as high as the algorithm can get. Is this usable in an actual fan game? Yes, it is. All you have to do is copy two objects, the neural network simulator and the player simulator. It'll probably not be public to prevent cheating. Yes, soon on the Savage Mountain Challenge, you'll see people that just plug this into a fan game and then walk away from their computer and come back and they get at the clear screen. Easy. Yeah, DGC 2002. Seth Bling is where we got the idea from. He deserves credit for that. We were, because like I said, Zebi was watching that, showed me, and we were like, hey, let's do it for this. Alright, so moving on. It's another room I designed. We're trying to keep it very simple for now. Oh, hey, Zebi's back. Welcome back, Zebi. Can you apply for access for this? I don't know if it's ready yet. If you have ideas, or you know, you'd like to collaborate or something, we'd certainly be interested in hearing from you. If you're like a researcher, but that's basically what we're talking about here. So I want to make this a lot better. Wolsk, is it only capable of moving towards a portal? In the current method, yes. You can see those white lines when I turn on the grid. The length of that line is basically the determiner of how fit a kid is. The shorter the line at the end of the trial, the better the performance. So, of course, my theory was, could you possibly set it up to navigate around obstacles, kind of like those circles and I Want to Vanish needles in those screens from K3? Because, you know, they always avoid obstacles. So could you somehow path from start to finish? But, my mic is annoying. I'm sorry about that. There's not much I can do about it. But you only have to put up with it for maybe 15 more minutes. So, my bad. How long did it take to make this generator? This was about, I actually have no idea. We did this over the period of, I guess, 2 or 3 weeks. And we've, you know, been making small tweaks to it ever since. And it's kind of just been sitting in my Dropbox until we decided it was time for the fan game marathon. I saw another question, I don't remember. Is it possible to use the memory from the last room? We currently plan on having the ability to save a neural network, so that, you know, all of the chromosomes that go into that neural network can be saved as a string, and so we can carry that, you know, from one room to the next, or save it to a file, so you could run it for a while, close the game, and load it back up and continue from where you were. That wouldn't be a problem. We just haven't done it yet. It's laziness. Alright, we made it in 13 generations. Here's a split path. You can go top or bottom. I think I've seen them go the same way. Or both ways, I mean. How many layers does the neural network have? It has an input layer, a hidden layer, and an output layer. Just 3. It's very simple because there's, I don't know how big that grid is. It's like 10 by 10, I guess, so 100. It's 100 inputs going to 5 outputs for all of the buttons. Could you base the chance of mutation on how many kids die? I guess what you could do is, if a lot of kids have the same fitness, increase the mutation value, so that as you approach a maximum, you can kind of spread it out a little bit. Can you make the population higher? Yes. The only problem is that it gets laggy. Let's do 50. Oh wait, and then I also have to set the simultaneous count to 50 so that they all go at the same time. So now you've got 50 kids on screen, all starting from the same point, trying to get to the portal. Random restarts. At the beginning of every generation, we do introduce, I believe, 10% of the population as aliens, which is completely random genomes, or chromosomes, or whatever the word is, I don't remember. But in my experience, that doesn't really help, because they usually just end up sitting back here and dancing around, and so they never get mated with anyway. Is this system similar to the Mario bot? I don't remember how similar it is, but it's the same concept, definitely. It's it's a neural network that is grown by a genetic algorithm, which of course isn't the most efficient way to do it, but it was fun to make. So this is very, very laggy, but I think we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Made it in. So that you could bet on them. You want me to color all these kids differently so you can bet on them? That seems racist. How dare you back? Could the algorithm do a double diamond? The hardest jump that we've been able to confirm completion of is a diagonal. The kid was able to learn that when it sees a diagonal, it needs to jump up through it, and that's because of the jump height, I think. If we could work out jump heights, then we would be able to, I think, make it do a lot more jumps, a lot of the standard jumps that you'd expect. I'm just screwing with you back. It's cool. I love you. I'm lowering the population count. I'm sorry. Let's do a population size of 40 and a simultaneous count of 20. Now, one of them's yellow. They're not all white. The survivors that do nothing get more points than the ones that get closer to the portal. Maybe I misspoke. Hold on. Let me look at the algorithm again. I'll pull it up. Right, so they get 50 points if they make it to the portal. This is out of 100, so they get 50, so if you make it to the portal, you're automatically better than everyone else. And you get 15 points based on the time it took, and 35 on the distance, where shorter distance is better. So, risk-taking is certainly encouraged, because if you get a little closer but die, you're not penalized as much as these guys over here in the corner doing absolutely nothing. Is there a reason they get stuck on one command for their ending? It just so happens that that set of inputs for the neural network can produce only a set of outputs that leads them to go back to those inputs, etc., etc. How hard would it be to have your population carry over between rooms? Oh, well, like I said earlier, we can do that. I've just been too lazy to write the save code. Also, did one of them make it over to the portal but didn't have enough time to get in? Alright, I'm going to consider that good enough. How do you page up? Alright, then I'll include jump cancel height as a height for you. Just for you. How is distance calculated if the path to the portal is not straight? As of right now, it's calculated on the Euclidean, or not the Euclidean, but the linear distance of the portal. So those lines you see, the length of that line is how much the fitness will be. Of course, it's not optimal, but it's been good enough for us. I haven't researched some sort of pathfinding algorithm that can calculate the true distance. Is this coded only in GameMaker? This was coded in GameMaker Studio. It's pretty simple. I based this code, I think, off of Lua and C++ code. So, I mean, you can just transfer it to your language of choice. I could watch this for hours. I have watched this for hours. I'll just put this up and on one screen and Cookie Clicker, or not Cookie Clicker, Clicker Heroes on the other screen. I'll just sit there clicking while the kids do their thing. And yes, it is about to end. How much longer do we have? We got 5 minutes. I'm gonna turn off that grid. That's getting annoying. Yep, we took the Game Maker Studio engine off the wiki and then made some modifications. So there you go. Why do most of the kids stay put and only a few move forward? Because what they do is completely randomized at the start. So the ones that move forward are going to live on into the next generation because their fitness value is higher, and they're the ones that get to mate and make children. So those children will live on as well. The Kitten's idle game. Clicker Heroes. Clicker Heroes for life, baby. Alright, I should probably go ahead and start setting up the race now. Here's the thing. I think CD Mans is not going to be able to make the race, and BBF is also not going to make the race. So it's basically Wolsk versus Electric. Bot learning Crimson Needle. I think Crimson Needle would actually be a good candidate because it's pretty simple. Well, I don't mean like simple, but like it's very obvious what you have to do. There's not a lot of triggers, if any triggers. So who knows, you know? Maybe one day you'll see literally a TAS of Crimson Needle. And the kid made it in, so we're going to end on that note. Congrats, kids. Alright, that was Shadesbot playing our mystery game. How do you stop the timer? Okay. Okay.